Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Neo Starling, and I am back here with another video. I decided to change the venue on this one. New York City, nighttime. It's about 29 degrees now, give or take. And yeah, I just wanted a change of pace, a change of scenery. We all often look for that, honestly, just changing things up a little bit, not always sticking to the same routine, so to speak. I wanted to talk about an interesting topic, or at least what I believe is an interesting topic. A long time ago, I read this book called Spartan, and the whole book was essentially talking about what's considered a mental frame of reference. Now, what is a mental frame of reference? Now, picture two people that are given the exact same sets of information. They are having the same experience, but somehow they come out with two diametrically opposed views on what they actually experienced, right? Think of it as if you both watched a movie together, whether it was a comedy or a horror. Let's say it was a horror movie and one of you found it scary and the other person found it cheesy. You both saw the same movie, you both experienced the same voice acting, dialogue, cutscenes, special effects, things of that nature, but you both came across with different experiences. You see, a mental frame of reference, it's sort of the way you interpret the reality of your life. Now, the book itself, there was a line in the book that I never forgot, and it said, if the most difficult thing you've done up until this point is go to and from the grocery store, then that's the level of difficulty that you're prepared to deal with. That's essentially the main lesson. It's trying to teach you how to go beyond that point of the grocery store, to give yourself the opportunity to enlarge in yourself and become a more fully realized human being. Now, that's really difficult. How does one even start to venture into that journey? It's really difficult because our experiences are so vast and unique from each other. How do we build a strong mental frame of reference? I remember a long time ago, and this cold is sort of reminding me of that time. A couple of years ago, New York City, actually, this was back in 2016. We had a really bad snowstorm. I remember at the time I was living in Ozone Park and I was going home. I was visiting friends. But what ended up happening was that I miscalculated the time in which the snowstorm would begin or get to its heaviest point. I had sneakers on. I had regular jeans on, sneakers, and a coat, no hat. And I took the train. Now, speaking of trains, there's a train running in the background, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Now, what I ended up doing was I was supposed to take a train to a bus, and the bus was out of service. So it was a 2-mile difference from the bus stop all the way towards where I lived, and the snowstorm had reached its peak. So safe to say there were no buses available, there was no taxis, no more trains, nothing else was running. So I was like, hey man, you know what? Everything is closing. I have no choice. I have to just go. So against my better judgment, I decided to venture into the snowstorm. I walked, and it took me close to, I would say, 2 hours to walk 2 miles. Normally something that could be done quickly, maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, give or take. But it took about 2 hours. And I remember my feet being fully submerged in the snow as I was taking big leaps just to try to get home, just to try to survive, because the snow was so bad. You couldn't even see anything in the distance. Everything was foggy and white. That's how crazy it was. I finally made it home. Yeah. I got home, and my first instinct was to hop in like a nice hot shower, but I refused to because you can give yourself nerve damage if your body is at a freezing temperature and you immediately submerge yourself in something hot. So I decided against that and decided to wait. I figured, hey man, you know what? I already did about 2 hours in this crazy snowstorm. I can wait another 10 minutes for my body temperature to stabilize. And I learned a lot that day. I really did. I learned that I was more capable of a human being than I realized. I learned that I can survive in spite of how crazy the elements were, and that was really my test. There was no train, no bus, no stores. Everything was closing because of how bad the snowstorm was. There was no feasible way that I was gonna make it if I didn't just, at that moment, decide, you know what, I have to do this no matter what. That day was really an eye-opener for me. A couple of reasons, but I would say the main reason was realizing that my frame of reference, my mental frame of reference had changed that day. If you go to the gym, for example, you know how they often say if you go there and you're going to do like squats or deadlifts, to do that first. The reason they tell you to do that first is because if you do your entire workout and try to avoid the hardest part for the end, your body is not going to be physically strong enough nor recovered enough towards the point where you can get that done. So it's always recommended to do the most difficult thing first. So if you get your squats out the way, if you get your deadlifts out of the way, the rest of your workout by comparison seems easy. Yeah, it definitely does. I've done 2 Spartan races. And the second Spartan race that I did was a really difficult one. This one, we had to submerge our bodies in mud, and then we had to climb a wet wall. Safe to say it was not easy. Me and a good friend of mine did it together. He's my Spartan brother. I love this guy. He's a good dude. We had a celebration, a friend's house, and they had a basketball court in their backyard. Now, these 2 young brothers, they were young studs. You know, they were younger than us. They were faster than us. You know, probably a little more agile than us, but we just survived a Spartan race that was really intense. There was no way in hell we were going to let these young punks beat us. So we won. No matter how difficult the game felt, we just refused to lose because our frame of reference was tuned towards the point where, because we did something so difficult, something insurmountable to a lot of others, beating 2 young kids in a basketball game didn't seem like a difficult task at all. No, by no stretch of the imagination. And this is not to brag and say that because I did something hard, that means that suddenly I've leveled up towards this point where everything is simple. No, that's not true at all. You see, life is your frame of reference. There are going to be moments when you are tested, and the way you react towards the tasks that are given to you are going to ultimately determine what kind of person you are and what you're capable of dealing with, essentially. You know? You always want to go into things with a little bit of pause and patience. Don't go rushing in too hard. Give it a second. Really think out your battle strategy on how you're going to tackle things. Whether it's something as simple as going to the grocery store, going to the gym, performing a Spartan race, or heck, filming a YouTube video. This seemed difficult for me, believe it or not. Coming out here with my equipment in the cold weather and deciding that I wanted to film a podcast instead of doing it in the comfort of my own studio room because, you know, it's just warmer in there. My equipment's already set up. I don't have to actually bring anything out. But having the change of venue, seeing my own breath as I speak, there's something powerful to that, you know? Putting myself through something difficult so that I could receive a bigger reward later on. You ever heard of the cookie test? The cookie test is you have a choice of having 1 cookie now, or if you wait another 20 minutes, you can get 2 cookies instead. So your patience in getting the 2 cookies will enable you to get a greater reward. But most people won't pass it because they want the cookie immediately. They want instant satisfaction. And life doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes you have to be patient. Yeah, no, definitely. Whatever your frame of reference is, whatever you have to do to establish that link between your internal self and your physical self, you're going to figure out what it is. Some of you have probably experienced it already. There are probably some of you that get angry at the simplest, the most minute things. It could be you drop the pen, oh no, you know, you have to bend down to pick it up. The horrors of this world, how could they? You know, and somebody will just look at a pen that fell down and they'll just grab it and keep going about their day. Nothing difficult, because it's not a difficult task. And even if it is, let's say, you know, you have scoliosis and your back is just really jacked up, but you had to bend down to get that pen. That in itself can seem rewarding, just because you know how difficult it is to do. Nothing easy in this world is ever worth it. The easy things that come to you are often injected with difficult outcomes. Sometimes you have to live a hard life in order to get an easy one. And even when you feel that you've reached that point of getting that easy life, there's still going to be another challenge around the corner, around the horizon. Really think about your frame of reference. Really think about the things in your life that might seem difficult to you. And you know what? Do something hard first. If you struggle getting up from bed because, you're tired and you want that extra little bit of sleep, get up, drink 2 cold glasses of water. Just do it. Chug them shits, man. Watch. Your body's gonna be activated. Go take a shower, make your bed. Start tasks early in the morning instead of rolling over and looking at your phone, because then you get caught up in this endless loop of doing the same thing over and over again until you've wasted all your time, next thing you know, and then you have to go. You can be a more fully realized person, and I'm not saying that you should be. By all means, be who you want to be. These are just things that I've learned throughout the course of my life, and you know what? They're rewarding. It's rewarding to think that if I exhaust a modicum of effort, I can get a greater outcome out of it. And I think there's a lot of people in this world, men and women alike, who often really struggle. We all live lives of quiet desperation and are always constantly trying to seek what works best for us, the validation that our spirits, our souls need in order to move on and progress with the rest of our lives. We all need it. We all crave it, but how many of us are willing to earn it? Really ask yourself that question. But it's getting a little cold out here. I don't know if you can see my breath or not, probably not, but I can. So I've been your boy, Neo Starling. If you feel that you've gained any value from this, please feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe to the damn thing. And tell me, what was an experience that you felt rewired your frame of reference? What was something that you did that you felt, wow, you know what? After I accomplished this, everything else just kind of seemed simple. I want to know. With that said, deuces.